if you feel like I do right now. Don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. Let's have a bit of fun till I downfall, my love, if you feel like I do right now. Don't say you're on the run to the other side, my love. You say you wanna try, but you never do. Sugar, there's a reason why we lose.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to CEA Summer League, back after our quick little break. If you didn't tune in, you can watch those VODs of our wonderful joint collegiate week, the most ambitious crossover in Collegiate Siege ever. There were a couple panels here that went quite well, but you guys are probably here for a little bit of action, and action we do have as the round of 16 is kicking off between Monday Morning Chapel, the 8 seed, versus Goose, Geese, seed 9. I'm Seedaps, joined by the wonderfully smooth voice of the one true Spades.
Hi, how's it going? And it looks like today, ladies and gentlemen, you better have brought your prayer books and, of course, the Canadian murder crows known as Goose Geese coming at each other, right next to each other in that seed category. I think it's going to be a rather interesting game to see. There's no Mighty Ducks on the field, but, you know, those geese, man, they can be quite violent and quite aggressive when they want to be. So walking into our first band phase of this first playoff game to see what Monday Morning Chapel's all about and what type of prayers they're going to be bringing to this one while banning out and putting out the heretical stance on certain operators.
And with that, we're going to be starting off with Clubhouse, typically a more defender-sided map with a lot of high-level strats, a whole lot of fun things that we could see going on, such as bandit tricking, impact tricking, and most likely a very heavy roam presence. And with Monday Morning Chapel being on the defensive side, they're going to be banning away the first attacker as soon as our observer alt tabs back in and lets us see. Yep, it's Maverick, the spicy hard breacher himself, makes it oh so easy to get CCTV wall opened, as well as Monty is going to go bye-bye as the ironclad Frenchman is not going to be seen. He's typically seen as a gigantic walking metal drone that just allows you to take a whole lot of map control. And with the other side of the coin, Clash is also gone. That's both big boy shields off the board, as Goose Geese doesn't want to be playing against those operators.
Yeah, and it's going to be very difficult with that riot control now taking Clash off the board. We're definitely defunding the police with that one. However, we're going to have to see this last defending operator here as we're just waiting to see who do they pick. Which will it be? Down to the last second. We're
Echo
waiting
or
for it to
Mira?
pop, and it's coming down to it looks like Mira's taking it off the board. That's only half the Spanish Inquisition, but that still means the unexpected can come on the board. And oh boy, I can't wait to see this holy reunion of the Spanish Inquisition coming out and tapping some feeties from afar. Round one, Monday morning versus that Goose Geese right back into it. Let's see what they come on with their compositions.
And I do believe Echo is still permanently banned due to his invincible yokai drone, so we won't be seeing that wonderful operator. I don't know if you guys couldn't see me because I'm not on face cam, but I put up the air quotations around wonderful because it's arguably the most frustrating thing in the world to just get stunned off the diffuser as the time hits 0 from an Echo sitting across the map, never shooting his gun. But let's talk about the action that we have right here as the Cali is going to be brought. Never mind, Thatcher didn't get banned, so we're going to see the old little throwback Thatcher Therm combo of Super Sly and Krunks. Most likely going to be trying to get that wall down. Shaz is on the Nomad, willing to cut off those flanks, make sure that there's no spicy runouts, as well as if the Capital is left alive, there's going to be a good opportunity with those smoke grenades and fire asphyxiation bolts to get their execute down in organized fashion.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see. It's really all up to Super Sly here to see whether or not he brings the colonial level British guy we all know and love, Thatcher, or if he decides to fall down a little bit, really hurt himself and come between him and the Queen. It's going to be up to him and his teammates to bring it all back. We've also got ourselves that meatball maestro walking around serving up everyone's mom's spaghetti. Whether or not you're too full to take it all, we'll have to see when he comes forward. It's going to be interesting to see how they decide to take this. There is the usual way, grabbing anything and everything you can on that outside wall, opening it up and trying to push the defenders back. It really is on the defenders to lose map control. So we're going to have to see how this attacking team decides to push out as we see Krunks and co. decide to start moving towards that one wall on that east side.
But they are going to be met with a bandit triggering quite a formidable one in the form of Mend, going to be using a lot of those audio cues to try and get rid of those exothermic charges. Typically, that is a very fun position to play, but with somebody like B-Dog lurking down below, trying to get control of Lounge, could just tap with a couple of those Zofia lifelines and could claim the life of the bandit entirely. And yes, the bandit is actively tricking, and it's also going to be up onto the backside of Spitz, who has opened up the CZTV window and with no Wamai on the board, can place a well shot out asphyxiation and force Mendy away. As well as there was a little bit of bait with B-Dog trying to, but unfortunately was not able to quite set up the correct lineup for those explosives on the Sophia Lifeline, but it doesn't matter as the Krunks' exothermic charge is just going to get the better of Mendy at this point. With CCTV wall control open, they do have a nice pathway into sight, as well as B-Dog making his way up the back red stairs. There's going to be a couple of coils of barbed wire in his way, giving those nice audio cues to the player sitting at top. But Krunks is going to open up the first killing, taking out the Maestro, an absolutely monumentally huge hit, as Maestro probably has one of the highest clutch ability factors. But there's a whole flurry of trades here. Kasha picks up Shaz. Krunks gets up one, but there's going to be two more back as Klimps and Mend both pick up and throw their hats in the fragging bag as well. At the end of it, as all the smoke settled, is a 3v2 into the side of the defenders. It's all up to Super Sly and Elon, and Super Sly has recovered that diffuser into his back pocket.
Yeah, going forward here, we watched that flurry of fire coming back left, right, and center. It looked like the attacking team was getting drunk with it, but Spitz, opening up with that M249, taking down Mend and Cash McClimps, spiking him down hard and fast like a volleyball player on the NCAA track. It is now a 1v1. Super Sly versus Klimps. They're firing at each other through the wall. It's talking about a really bad amateur hour. Oh my goodness gracious. The demolition crew comes forward and Klimps finds Super Sly through the wall. Talk about superior German engineering on this one as he comes around using that peek hole and emptying the brain pan. Oof, someone call the mechanics because that's going to be an interesting mess to clean up.
It was really well done by the Capitao to really push in with that LMG and try to get the necessary map control. Came into sight, started fragging out, but unfortunately, we have the incorrect settings as the offense and defense has switched every round instead of the traditional competitive 6v6 kind of lineup. So, with that, we're going to cut to a quick little intermission. So, make sure to stay tuned in on the action as we get our I's dotted, our T's crossed, and all of our geese in a line.
It's a gaggle. It's a gaggle. Oh, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. We're back from Caster Purgatory, if you will. Sitting out on the backside is our great and glorious observer has now mended our ways and bringing us back into this game just after that bit of a 1v1 fight there on Monday morning. Chapel decided to pick up the round. We've got our bans in place. We've got our rules all fixed this time, hopefully. Fingers crossed that everything works out going forward here as we walk back into round 2. GG versus MMC. Sounds like a bad rhyme to me, but who's going to, I don't know, judge me at this point in time?
Yeah, at this point, I only judge myself, and it's if I'm able to make a decent pun. Most of the time, it's the answer is no. But the battlegrounds for round 2 will be all the way down in the basement of Church and Arsenal Room, a very strong site in its own regards. And seeing a vigil as well as a pulse on the board could spell a little bit of extra ripples of complexity into the defense being employed by Monday Morning Chapel here. Most likely, Mendy's just going to be down below the kitchen hatch, maybe trying to find a free kill at the hands of a nitro cell inside a kitchen. And most likely, the Vigil just going to be running around all over like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to cut off the heads of some geese on the attacking side.
Yeah, and definitely, like you said, there's going to be some complexity with his play, but definitely not with Pulse's hairstyle, as he has done. Going forward, he's going to, like you said, he's going to be looking for feet to take down the gaggle of Canadian murder crows known as the Goose Geese. It's going to be interesting to see whether or not they're going to just run right through or adopt the actual natural habitat of the geese and just run at you wailing and making all sorts of noises and trying to be super aggressive. Just have to see how that ends up playing out as Monday Morning Chapel setting up their defense downstairs as we're watching, what is it, Calcel, 33 there, pushing up some walls on that church side to see what he does with all that tear gas, or at least what we think is in the canisters. And here we go as we get that round started here. It looks like some of the Goose Geese are spawning off of that northeastern side. You've got the Thermite with Superfly as well as their Sledge player pushing up towards the kitchen side. And we do have ourselves a roamer as it looks like Vigil is deciding to post up and place some candles around and possibly catch somebody out in the open if they're pushing in by themselves. We are seeing B-Dog pushing in upstairs with his teammates, trying to open up a little bit of extra room, giving themselves a safe entry point. It doesn't seem like his roam does extend upstairs, but here we go. No, never mind. Vigil decides to play on the lower staff as we see Cash just holding that back left-hand spot of the stairwell. Let's see if he ends up seeing them coming down, or at least hearing them coming down the stairs, as we see Crunks getting crunk with it, going over towards the bathroom, going back towards billiards, and just kind of feeling out the entirety of the bar as B-Dog and Spitz decide to start moving them way down. Never mind, it was just B-Dog moving down with his other teammate, as Spitz is now opening up holes, trying to look down into the kitchen.
And it was actually the Maestro blasting away with that pocket shotgun, probably making some holes for the impact trick that is inevitable as Goose Geese and Goose Geese, actually not Goose Geese, and that's just Duke being a Papega opening and trying to meme on it just a little bit. But with that, it does seem as if Goose Geese really wants control of Kitchen Hatch and probably try to make their way down main stairs in conjunction with the rest of that push. And as that, the Habana pellets do go off, but they're taken away swiftly at the hands of Kashta, blasting with that little Pokeball. But Spitz is going to be opening up the fragging here, taking out Glimpse inside of Blue, as well as picking up a second kill onto Kashta. Some people say Thatcher is a sport operator, but he definitely has high frag potential when you slap that angle grip on that AR-33. And he smells blood in the water. He's going to keep on pushing forward. He's actually going to get taken out by Min with a wonderful 90-degree flick. Trunks is going to be able to take out CB as the Maestro falls early in the round. Once again, leaving it all up to the pulse and the smoke against the world. It is a 4v2, not looking like a great position so far, but the Nitro Cell has also been burned away, as well as two of the Sanguine Arsenic canisters. But the shotgun is what's more deadly, as Calcel is going to be able to pick up B-Dog, dropping the Sophia off in a quick and sort of powerful way.
Yeah, as we're watching Calcel, he's stuck in that moto area. He's kind of completely fenced in between Blue and the main stairwell, but we've got Mendy deciding to come down through the hatch like Superman. He knows the Batmobile might be nearby, but oh! Crunk puts on his favorite tunes, puts on the Dre's by Beats, and decides to beat him down hard. Calcel taking down Crunks from afar with that SMG-11, pushing into the other side of the site. Also picking up Shaz one. He takes down another one. It is now down to a 1v1. He doesn't have a whole lot of health, but he does have a whole lot of will as he pushes back into that site. Pulling out that shotgun. He's got that 12-gauge capability. He's going to take him down, and he does. He's going to get the defuse and the kill on Superfly. Wow, talk about really putting on a show. Low health, low possibility of success, but just like all of our favorite fantasy movies, the heroes come out on top, I guess, in this case, as that 12-gauge is short range, definitely cut off some arms.
If you're on the sides of Monday Morning Chapel, you definitely feel as if your prayers have been answered at the hands of that 4K clutch. Really great work coming out of the Smoke player to massively use not only the shotgun to take out two, but also just crushing some melons with that SMG-11. But just like that, 2 rounds are in the books, both coming to Monday Morning Chapel's sides at the hands of a little bit of some clutch plays. Klimps was able to get the 1v1, but after the rehost, it's been all on Calcel as he picked up not 1, not 2, not 3, but all 4 kills for himself last round. But now as we go to Gym Bedroom, the traditional tertiary bomb site, 3rd in the rotation, it's going to be up to the Goose Geese attackers to try to get themselves on the board and start getting a little bit of footing in this matchup.
Yeah, honestly, that last round was absolutely fantastic to watch as we saw what looked like Goose Geese really taking a commanding lead about halfway through that round. But then all of a sudden, Calcel decides to put down his flag and says, this is the hill I'm going to die on. And he ended up not, because he's got a 12-gauge. 12-gauge goes burr. At that point in time, he pulled out the SMG-11, brain panned a few of them, ran out of bullets, but he had pushed in so far that nothing but shotgun was going to really work for him. And he just pulled it out, and he ended up taking down the Habana by getting a spray a few of those pellets into the arm, dropping her down. And with no arms, no legs, I lean on the other team to win this one. At that time, it just ended up working out so well for Calcel, and that was a masterful play on his part, or her, whoever it is. Not really sure, but it was a really good job on defense nonetheless.
But when you're flipping the script here, talking about the difference in the sort of strategies employed by Monday Morning Chapel, last time around we saw sort of more of a turtle strat, where a lot of players were in close proximity to site. With sure, the Vigil was roaming up top, but as soon as he felt some pressure, he started falling back. This time is going to be a really heavy horizontal hold coming out of these defenders, as they've extended essentially extended the site all the way to CCTV and cash room, and that's most likely what Goose Geese are going to have to attack. They're going to have to flush out those players, those sort of soft roamers, into all those lurkers, get those kills, and take all of that map control on that side, or else they will just be trapped and funneled into the crosshairs of the remaining ones over on more of the west side of the map. Kashta is on the bandit this time around, not Mend, as he's going to be trying to be successful with the bandit trick, but going against a well-timed Thatcher Thermite combination is definitely something that's not
Yeah, as we see here, Shaz pushing in through that cash side window. Now we've got Crunks getting crunk with it, opening up now wall. Cash could not stop it. He's been knocked down by the explosion, and Superfly taking down Cash and making sure that bandit has got no place on this map anymore. As Monday Morning Chapel is still trying to hold down the defense, and CB knocking out the oh my god, the meatball gun takes down Spitz from close range. Talk about opening up a weapon that just does not stop firing. With that, especially with that box mag, that's going to do damage at almost any range. Now the attacking side's kind of taking back in a bit of a breather, as we're seeing Goose Geese trying to do their best to flesh out the meatball man himself, the Spaghetti Maestro, going back into the main bedroom and trying to get a better angle by sitting on top of the bed and looking down on the attackers. Chaz could be the one that's in the line of fire. Over on the other window towards the gym side, it's going to be interesting whether or not the angle lines up. If he walks the wrong way, it's going to be very bad for him as B-Dog pulling out that impact grenade launcher, trying to open up some holes. Crunks finding Calcel. There we go. Now the defender of all eternity has been taken off the board. Does this switch up how the game is going to be played? We'll have to see as B-Dog also taking down the meatball man himself. There we go. Now Shaz is free to move around on that front side, but oh! Krunks finds Klimps, and now he drops him just as fast. My goodness gracious. The brain pans are being destroyed, and there we go. Mendy finding Superfly through the bottom of that. Oh my god, the floor. He gets him as he looks up and sees him trying to plant down. Now the plant is no longer safe, and it is all up to Goose Geese here to lose this one, as it is a 1v3. He's got to do something, though. Now there you go. The diffuser's down. Goose Geese have now got the diffuser gone, and it's all up to Mendy, and B-Dog rushing him with that pistol on Sophia ends up canceling it out, bringing Goose Geese within one.
And that was exactly what Goose Geese needed to really start swinging maybe a little bit of momentum in their favor. However, as the way the rounds have gone, CCTV Cash Room has been opened once again. And if you were to lose a side on the defensive side, losing Gym Bedroom isn't necessarily one that you're going to be really losing sleep over. However, if you lose either Basement or CC, that's where you can start worrying just a little bit, as you definitely want to try to get to that 4-2 split after you switch the half. But for Goose Geese, any round on attack is definitely one that will make you happy. It's just, at the end of the day, attacking Clubhouse is not the easiest thing, especially when you have a really nice structured team such as Monday Morning Chapel, employing the right angles, opening up this site to open up lines of sight as well, and really taking their gunfights with a sense of poise and confidence.
Yeah, and that poise and confidence can make all the difference, but unfortunately, because of the webbed and inverted feet of the Case, it's going to be interesting if they are able to predict where they decide to go. And so far, it's been almost like a little bit of a ragtag mix together, but it has kept things slightly unpredictable in some cases, in which that last round ended up working out for them, as it looked like CB was trying to cancel out the attack from those outside windows just outside of main bedroom. Chaz did not get picked off. He was, however, tagged by one, and CB did pick up a kill. But again, Goose Geese were able to rally back together and get the win on that last one, although it's, like you said, not a huge factor losing that site. If you do lose CC or into the basement, you're going to have a bit of a problem. But again, at least it's one on the board for them, and it's within one. Hopefully they continue on and continue to make this competitive, as it has been so far. A rather joy to watch.
Cash is going to be going for a little bit of a spawn peek, but unfortunately for him, his efforts will not bear fruit because nobody spawned on that side of the map. All the action is concentrated on this east side towards the CCTV balcony, as both the Thatcher Thermite combination with quite a few others, the Nomad and Sophia in particular, will be trying to take this downstairs control to help push that bandit off the wall. No bandit tricking is no problems for the Thermite, as he can just blast away the wall, but as Mendy is just continuing to juggle those batteries, it could be a very difficult position. Krunks is just continuously just strafing back and forth, trying not to have the thermic charge is point. But the Sophia is actually going to be correct in the lineup this time, double tapping with that beautiful impact launcher and putting men into a down but not out state. But not only that, it buys enough time for the rest of these players to breach open the wall, and Spitz is going to be picking up not one but 2 kills from down below, utilizing the Buckmaster and shotgun, opening up angles and really making these defenders feel unsafe wherever they stand.
Yeah, talk about being Buck and not giving a crunk. So far, EB takes down Grunk from distance with that machine gun. Oh my god, talk about spicy meatballs being thrown out here this time. He's holding into that garage area up on the top of catwalk. He's got to hold this back the best of his possible ability. If they lose that side of the map for this defense, it's going to spell disaster, as it is right now a 3v4, and that bringing it down to a 2v4 could cause some serious problems, allowing them to flank from multiple different directions. Going back inside, we've got Cash now holding that window over towards the Cash side. Go figure, that's a pun all on itself. And then on the other side, we got CB in the garage and Council still roaming around on the other side here, the bedroom. Right now, we're watching Buck pushing into that Cash room, taking down Cash's Spitz, gets a 3rd kill of the game so far. And he's now got that assault rifle out. He's trying to hold the rotate towards red. He does have one behind him, as ZB also gets taken down by Superfly. But again, it's the man with the plan. It's Cancel. Oh, and he gets taken down from behind as Spitz picks up a 4th kill of the round. Talk about trying to do as much damage as you possibly could, but The canisters were just not enough, as well as that SMG-11 and the 12 gauge. They fall again to another attack by the Goose Geese.
It seems as if this match so far has just been heroic after heroic after heroic, except Spitz has been the common denominator so far, being able to successfully perform in multiple rounds, picking up 4 kills that round. Krunks is also doing a little bit of fragging, but every single round has just had a standout player so far. And that is the kind of things that you really want to see coming out of some of the operators, such as your Buck, especially on a site such as CC, being able to get down below and effectively pressuring all of the players inside a cash room, making it just like you feel as a defender that you're walking on a minefield, sort of similar to if a pulse is below on defense, except you're fully flipping the script, picking up not one but not two. It really made the backside construction push almost seem free, which is where he rotated, just sprinted in, and got 2 more kills. Really, really well played from Spitz last time around. Now, on the side of Monday Morning Chapel, they're going to be bringing all of the same operators, so not changing on that front, but most likely how they are playing is going to be the important role this time. Clemson is most likely going to be trying to play down below to minimize the impact of B-Dog's impact grenades, which ultimately stopped Men's bandit tricking entirely. So trying to maintain control of both the top as well as the lounge and stockroom is going to be very important. That's why we're going to see Casper breaking away some footholds, offering some long lines of sight to where Spitz and B-Dog entered in, and making sure that this map control does not get relinquished for free.
Definitely going to be interesting to see how they decide to counter the Goose Geese on this one. That last one, they seem to feel very confident in their attack, even though they weren't able to get things rolling right away. That teamwork ultimately was able to pay off, opening up some serious holes in the defending side there, especially using that Zofia impact grenade, knocking down the bandit almost instantly. Although he was able to get back up, it eventually stopped him. Oh, we already got a snipe. This Klimps gets a quick spit and throws a mask on Spitz and stops all that saliva from spreading anything. My goodness gracious. Thank God he was there to help out all mankind. As we see Crunk looking through the tiny hole in the bottom as that Thermite trying to maybe possibly get himself over towards that wall and open it up. We've got Mendy on the other side closing off the main bedroom, trying to stall any attack that might come through there. And now it's the waiting game. Let's see what comes up next as Thermite still trying to just wait out Council, see whether or not he can get that charge down. And he's trying to bait it out as Council decides to try and bandit trick here. And Crunk's going to get down that thermobaric charge, and it's a possibility. He's trying to outplay him as B-Dog gets Casca at that bottom spot. That was one of the only reasons why they were stopping the attack there. Now he's free to use that impact grenade to try and do some damage as we've seen him pull it out. He's got it whipped out. He's got no pants on, and it's just sticking out. Now we're just waiting to see what happens as he's now caught one of them out in the open with that extra concussion grenade. As it looks like Klimps is going to fall back up the stairs a little bit, but as soon as he peeks, it's going to be Contact City. I have to turn around and see whether or not he decides to push out. Klimps decides to fall all the way back up, and Castle also taking that impact grenade yet again. Serious damage from down below. Not being able to take out his bandit right away, but it is causing him a serious problem. And now Shaz taking down Klimps. It is down to a 3v4 as Spitz is the only attacker to be taken down so far. You remember last round, he did a serious amount of damage as Shaz finds Council through the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, he got some beep beeps on that radar and just decided to take a quick fire and took them all down. Shaz really pushing into that main spot, pushing through the bedroom into construction. He's got his buddy Krunks with him as well, who's now decided to open up a different wall. They know there's one on red as Mendy finds B-Dog, but Krunks gets Crunk with it, walking through, and oh, he takes down CB through the wall over towards Garage with a quick flick. And trust me, the showman said with a flick of the wrist, he takes down everyone. And as you see there, he damn nearly missed shooting the side of that wall. But at the end of it, Goose Geese walk away with the win, and now they're up by 1.
With the split so far going 3 rounds into the side of the attackers, Goose Geese are definitely looking good, sitting pretty and in the driver's seats of this map so far. The worst case scenario at this point is that the Monday Morning Chapel defenders will be successful once again down below, and you'll have a 3-3 split but that's definitely a good position for Goose Geese to be in, as you would expect typically a 4-2 split towards the defenders. But what could even flip the script even more is if Goose Geese are able to really ice up where they messed up last time. I think it was a 4v2 post plant position that they ultimately Calcel was just too powerful on the smoke and overwhelmed everybody. But if they're able to hold their post plant positions just a little bit better, not overextend, we actually could see this go to that reverse 4-2 split that Goose Geese is trying. I also believe that this is their map choice, so maybe could be a little bit of the reason why they're looking so comfortable as compared to Monday Morning Chapel at this point. Maybe they're just off to a slow start. Anything can change at a moment's hand.
Now we're back down in the basement. If you remember last time, Castle was able to hold off the entire attacking team, to be specific, 4 of them, by no short help about with Mendy with that pulse, who ran down through the kitchen and dropped it like it was hot through the hatch and tried to come and help him and pulled enough of the attention off of him so he could get out of Moto without being lambasted, as he was being pushed by both Blue and the main hallway. But with Mendy coming down and taking some of the pressure off, he was able to push out, get himself into a safe spot, take Blue, and then at the end of it, was able to take out 4 of the Goose Geese squad in flying V formation to ultimately win the defense. Now we're going to have to see whether or not it's going to fall back to him to hold this defensive round again, or does Monday Morning Chapel say the prayer of incantations properly, and do they get holy protection on this one? We'll just have to see.
Yeah, as the top-down roam clear is getting brought out of Goose Geese, it's going to be a lot of pressure coming on Kashta, as the entire weight of the world is going to start to bear on this individual's shoulders. He's trying to protect the bar area and, more importantly, that Moto hatch. But, however, it is kiteed. So, if Spitz is to fall on the Thatcher, it definitely will make this attack just so much more difficult. Actually, there's also an Electric Claw over towards the blue hatch, trying to protect Klimps down below on that generator. Kashta is just rotating into stock room, patiently waiting for any attacker to try to push his location, as some wallbangs are going inside a jar, and that is Zofia of B-Dog getting a couple shots on the Kashta as just more and more shots rain through. Ultimately, Krunk is going to deliver the final fatal bullet. As now, with second floor control, we're going to see Goose Geese really start to work with their utilities. There's going to be some Thatcher grenades popping off, and a heck of a lot of hard breaching accompanying those EMP grenades, taking away both of the Kaida Electro Claws.
And we're looking downstairs real quick. Well, we just saw Klimps looking through a small piping area on the AC side, catching a glimpse, if you will, of that new blue stairwell. I guess it's not so new anymore, as we have one of our friendly neighborhood attackers looking down through the top part. Let's see whether or not he falls victim to Klimps and that superior German thought process, as it looks like he's just about to start coming around that corner. The barbed wire is gone. Klimps is holding it cold, calm, and steady. Ice in the veins and spaghetti on the sweater already. We're going to have to see whether or not Shaz takes the bait, is playing his IQ. He's now peeking down, and Klimps moves. Oh my goodness, talk about bad timing, as we got CB using a CB ham radio, sending signals up through that hatch into the kitchen. And here we go as Klimps comes around the corner and brain pants Saraz. He also gets a little bit of help by CB taking down Superfly. It is a 3v3, and Krunks and Spitz are both getting hurt. But Spitz says, I don't care, and Spitz back at Council as CB finds Spitz, and now it's down to a 2v2. Krunks down low on health, B-Dog at full health. Klimps and CB both at full. It's going to be interesting as they decide to try to push through Moto. We've got ourselves a fight as Krunks and B-Dog both pushing in. B-Dog following Klimps and CB killing Krunks. It is now a 1v1. It's going to be interesting as he's got himself a ping. He knows what's going on, and it looks like CB plays the smart play, holding back and not giving out a second serving, as that could have gone either way through that attack, as it went right down to the wire yet again. But again, it is now back to 3-3 as Monday Morning Chapel brings it back with the Holy Inquisition.
Do you play any chess, Spades?
No, I'm actually an idiot when it comes to chess. Checkers is more my alley.
Well, if I've been watching a good amount of chess due to like the whole Pog Champs tournament, it kind of got me hooked on it. But I have to say there was one key blunder on the side of the attack there, and they left the diffuser upstairs. So at that point, when there was 2v2 and that clock hit about 20 seconds, there was no chance of them being able to recover that laptop, bring it into sight, and try to set up a post plant. They had to go for the kills. And ultimately, with the Maestro cams just spam spotting away the Zofia, they really just knew that he had to play patient. He just had to not die, and they were going to win the round. So, really big brain play coming out of Monday Morning Chapel on that sort of hectic end to that final defensive round. But with that, we're going to see the sides reverse. We're going to be going back upstairs to CCTV Cash Room. Definitely the most popular site we've seen tonight, as it was brought 3 times last time around. But with that, Krunks is going to be making some holes for the sounds to properly propagate through, allowing him to really supplement his bandit tricking with a little bit of auditory goodness. Super Sly is also going to be reinforcing the bottom of the garage, making sure that the utility on the attackers really has to be used if they want an easy access into that choke point of the map. We're also going to see a little bit of a bandit Jaeger Wamai combo, 3 very powerful guns on the side, but with V-Dog and Shaz both bringing anti-projectiles, it's going to suck away just even more of the utility. Unfortunately, on the attacking side, there's not a Cappy Tau, so we're not going to get to see that wonderful interaction of a Wamai disc catching away the firebolts trying to stop the bandit trigger, but they're going to probably just go for a little bit of an old-fashioned way of just thatchering the wall and actually probably bringing the buck down below as Klims is being droned in and trying to take control of lounge and stockroom.
Yep, and then just like I said, CB has brought Jackal, the Spanish Inquisition. He is here. He's going to be sniffing some toes and dropping bros, hopefully, as we see that eye come forward, and he's going to be looking around, seeing whether or not the roamer is around, as we do see Shaz sitting on the backside. He has been droned out. He has been caught for heretical abuse, and now it's on, as they now know he's walking towards that bar side. He's been kind of cornered off, and the extra drones going their way. They do know that the hatch is open, but it hasn't been called out for Klims, as Klims nearly walked into the line of fire twice, as rounds did find him and penetrated his soft, squishy blue body. But it looks like it wasn't enough to take him down, as his teammates have called him back to start opening up some really cheeky holes in the bottom side, as he's now fighting through the floor between top and bottom, as Spitz and him are engaging each other. We do have B-Dog upstairs as well. Maya also helping. Krunk near the main hallway, stopping Castle from getting through with his thermobaric charge. And it looks like Kashka's decided, rather than going inside and using that impact grenade, he's decided to use it through the tiny little hole there, and it doesn't look like it's really worked. Although, oh, there we go. Now it seems that the Buck has gotten wise, as Klims has opened up a wee bit of the area on the floor to stop him from putting down those bandit charges, but he is also at a disadvantage, as Shaz is coming up through the basement. If Shaz comes up through the basement, it looks the proper way. He's going to take down the Buck, and he does, as that superior German engineering from Jaeger takes him down, but Mendy does trade in kind. So he still has optimal ability to hold down those holes, watching that wall. And it looks like it might be the end of it, as yes, there we go. The thermal barrack charge goes off. Castle gets the open hole and now decides to rappel up the side of the wall and try to give his teammates a little breathing space. Throwing in a drone, trying to get some extra calls and maybe some pings on the dingalings coming into the garage. And now just trying to see some feats that they have pushed in, and they have gotten themselves into a good position to start pushing in on that catwalk player, who's now in a heap of trouble. As we're seeing Superfly, looking Superfly, getting taken down by Casca as he comes up the stairwell and finds the face of the Asian persuasion known as Legion, killing them all in an instant. With all of those Goose, Casca putting down the diffuser, piping in some spicy memes on Reddit, also looking down towards the hallway, making sure the enemy team can't push in. Mendy taking down Spitz. He wasn't wearing a mask, and the anti-maskers send him back to where the depths of hell he came from. And now it seems to be Krunks is also down, as Casca goes for the last one, taking down B-Dog.
What a round coming out of the Monday Morning Chapel. Attackers, I have to say, I really commend Kashta's perseverance to take not 1, not 2, but 3 goo mines in a row. That was a really comical thing, as he just started stepping on Legos all over the place, spamming that audio all over. But it didn't matter, as the post plant positions were really strong coming out of Monday Morning Chapel, and they just sat, waited, and ultimately won the round due to their superior gun skill. It was a lot better of a battle for the wall, especially since Maverick is off the board. You're seeing those really old interactions on Clubhouse that you don't necessarily see in super high levels nowadays, because If you just bring Maverick, you Maverick trick to the wall, you draw 2 lines, and all of a sudden it's soft, poof, easy to get open. But now we'll be going all the way downstairs to Basement Church and Arsenal Room, as that will be the site of choice for Goose Geese on this round. They weren't quite successful on the upstairs, so they're going to try to switch it up and see what sticks as they throw everything they have against the wall.
Need to locate and defuse
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see because now they're downstairs. It's going to be whether or not the Goose Geese can make the flying V formation not only an offensive ability, but also a defensive one. As now Monday Morning Chapel is bringing that prayer group to the front door and asking if they've got a moment to talk about Jesus. We'll have to see what happens here. We see Superfly putting down some of those armored barricades on those hatches, as is required by law in Rainbow Six Siege. If you don't have a Superfly strat, Superfly will come forward and destroy it. So going forward, we've got ourselves a bit of an intel gathering group here, as we do have Shaz playing that sweet, sweet Valkyrie, riding her horse steed of a winged ability coming from that Norse god place back up somewhere and above. Crunks also using that Legion, that Asian persuasion, bringing all of those Legion mines that'll gather up over time if he's allowed to sit on top and just keep himself alive. The more those Legion mines come into play, although they're not super effective anymore as they used to be, they damn well become a nuisance, and we all know it as B-Dog. Also pulling out the smoke. We don't want to know what's in the canisters, but he'll damn well test it on us if we get too close. As we see Kashka and the rest of his team decide to start pushing onto the map, looking for any of those spawn peaks that just don't seem to be there at the moment.
Do you not know what's in the canisters? The Elite Smoke skin told us. It's sanguine
I honestly
arsenic.
just thought it was, I just thought it was
sanguine arsenic. That is what's in the canister, and it's definitely quite dangerous, as B-Dog is probably going to be trying to choke away any of the attackers, but the life of Klimps is going to be saved, actually, as he takes a good amount of damage from down below. There's some angles opened up and some defenders laying in wake, holding it, and punish the Buck for being just a little bit too over-aggressive. It's making Kitchen feel like it's a very dangerous position to take, as Shaz is also rotating down the main stairs. He was roaming all the way up top and actually could catch both Cowcell and Klimps sleeping as they're trying to get this kitchen hatch opened up.
And it just looks like Cowcell and Klimps took a wee bit of an impact grenade to the face. However, they did get the hatch open. I don't know, I guess it's a 50-50 trade if you think about it. But we still have Shaz sitting upstairs, really watching it. And he goes crunks and throws chunks as Klimps hits the ground harder than a sack of potatoes. And CB answers in kind as the Spanish Inquisition labels B-Dog a heretic and puts him down for mischief and misery against the crown, of course. CB going in through that dirt tunnel, using that extra eye to take a look around and see where the thighs connected to the ankle bone has been all this time. Cowcell up top is Thermite, looking through that open hatch, trying to see whether or not he can catch someone out in the open. And as we do, as Spitz finds Cowcell, but Mendy finds Crunks. Chunks is what he throws. Crunks is his name. And now Mendy has brought it down to a 3v3 and decides to push down, dropping it like it's hot, going in for the plant almost instantly, as CB, the brother-in-arms, the Spanish Inquisition, if you will, is now taking down Superfly. As Superfly pushes in, Casta ends up taking down Spitz with a little bit of a towelette. My God, talk about wiping the floor with a player.
And just like that, that's the second attacking round coming out of Monday Morning Chapel, as it seems their aggression and gun skill is just too much for Goose Geese to overcome at this point. One more round into the back pocket of MMC will send it to a match point. Once they cross that 6-point threshold, that's where you really start feeling the pressure. However, the pressure has already been brought, as you typically expect to win at least a couple of your rounds on defense so far, but they haven't quite been able to be successful on the Goose Geese side. This time around, Crunks is going to be switching onto the Kaid, putting those electro claws onto the hatches to make sure it's not quite as easy to get opened as both Cowcell and Klimps made it seem. Sure, they took a lot of damage, but they got the necessary hatch opened. We're ultimately allowed the Thatcher to drop in, plant, and just continue bringing the pressure downstairs onto the rest of the Goose Geese defenders.
Yeah, talk about making a nice soft Goose Geese pillow after that one, because that was an interesting play, and it worked out in their favor as they seemed to almost corner off the defenders in their own spots. None of them were really ready to try and hold off that plant on the pushdown. And ultimately, CB was the one that held them all back from blue anyway. So they more or less just walked right into that PDW that he's sporting. And again, it worked out in their favor. And the push was great by Mendy, who pushed down in and just decided to go for the plant as his teammates watched his back. It was a very well thought out and well played round by all of his teammates.
Yeah, and it's mainly coming down to Goose Geese having a very spread defense. They ultimately can't effectively set up these trade positions that you want. Typically, when you play in a defensive position, you want to stick to that 2-second rule that Pengu has made really popular. You're going to think, hey, am I within 2 seconds of one of my teammates? Am I going to be able to be refragged? Because that's the name of the game. That's actually a really nice electro clock coming out of Krunks as he's putting that on display for all to see. That got both walls, and it's also going to be very difficult to find even from the drone hole. But Krunks is also playing a little bit aggressive towards this area, as now they see him, they're going to take a little bit drone off the economy, as well as there might be an accompanying spawn peak on top of the main stairs. The Thatcher is going to roll on over, waste a little bit of that utility, not one but 2 EMPs to get rid of any potential tricking, opening up dirt as a possible backdoor path for Goose Geese to have to defend if the round continues in the way it's going.
Yeah, and now they've pushed all the way back out of Snake from the dirt side, and now they've just barricaded it off. It's caused a little bit of a problem now because they are also being pushed back into the same locations that they were pushed back in before, in which they were able to just drop down, and with CB also taking dirt yet again on the same side with that PDW. They're going to have to really figure out how they're going to hold this if they take that hatch and start opening up holes. As it looks like CB nearly got his meatball taken off with that shot, as the Thermite is now trying to get himself prepped to get over towards that hatch and start opening things up. And it's just up to CB and co to try and hold this out to the best of their ability. It is still a 5v5, however, damage has been sent out. They've got Mendy, who's gotten down past half health already. Klimps is also showing signs of degradation, and the only one on the defending side, which is Krunks, has taken really any slights of damage, as that hatch has now been blown open, and it's going to open up a whole area for this attacking team to start trying to pick apart. It's Monday Morning Chapel is now really starting to show their own as Klimps just takes down Shaz as he tries to rotate out into more of a safe location. And my goodness gracious, what a ban wave that just came in. That was massive. Okay, back to the game. CB with that PDW holding off the blue hold there. As we got ourselves Superfly trying to push back into sight. He's kind of pickpocketed himself into a little bit of a corner as we see. Again, we've got the plant going down by Council, who's also getting himself ready. And again, it's going to be a push through blue. And CB's going to be the one to hold him off, although this time he's taking a serious amount of damage. The rotate has already come through as Krunks takes down CB. That's the commanding hold as the post-plant positions are starting to fall apart. Kasha taking down Spitz. It's now going to be that 12 gauge pushing into the backside. But Klimps also finds Superfly. It's now down to a 4v2. And now it's a 4v1 as B-Dog, the last man left, has got to push in, and there's no hope in hell that's going to happen. As Klimps reads out the Bible verse in Matthew 3:16 and then shows him, no, see right here, this is where you lost.
Really great work coming out as Monday Morning Chapel is just putting on an absolute show on the attacking side of Clubhouse, really showing that they are a strong team. I was a little bit skeptical going into a 3-3 split, but at the end of the day, they're just starting to run away with it just a little bit. The potential final round of this map is going to be CCTV Cash Room, as it goes to a first 2-7 rule set here at CEA for Summer League. However, this isn't just like the regular season. This is a full best of 3 requiring overtime, requiring a whole bunch of other fun stuff that makes things a little bit more competitive. But if you're in the side of Monday Morning Chapel, getting the first map under your belt is definitely a step in the right direction. Coming out on the defensive side, we're going to see a very similar lineup to what we saw last time, except there isn't a Maestro this time. Super Sly is going to be the Doc, most likely playing up in Rafters, trying to use that long-range ACOG to its full potential, taking those longer range engagements towards the garage door, maybe even the bottom panels if they do get blown up.
Yeah, we're just going to have to see how he decides to play. As again, the favored site by both sides is cash room up here. We're going to have to see whether or not any different strategies are going to be employed, as it just comes down to whether or not they're able to open up holes in that bottom floor just underneath where Trunks is going to be to doing the bandit trick to stop anyone from getting to that wall. That wall is massively crucial for the defending side. The longer they hold that wall up, the longer they hold the entire attack up, especially because it seems to be a mainstay of most attacks, or at least gives that extra opposite threat to any defenders that are trying to hold inside that piece of the site, giving them the ability to not only defend a planting player, but also do a post-plant defense, which allows them to be more or less safe if played properly. We'll have to see how this goes forward, as it looks like Klimps has decided to start opening up some doorways for himself, getting onto that drone and taking a look around on the inside and giving himself a little bit of intel with his teammates.
And we're going to see the Klimps get a little glimpse of a player down below, start blasting away with that C8 rifle with the ACOG attached, but not quite being able to finish off B-Dog sitting up above. Now there's a whole lot of utility burning away all of the ADSs and Lamai magnets on that drone hole, probably with the Zofia in mind here. But Klimps is going to open up the fragging, taking out the smoke, and that is a huge pick onto Spitz, who's been one of the shining stars of Goose Geese up to this point. It's starting off with more aggression and more power coming out of Monday Morning Chapel, and we've seen that go on almost every attacking round so far. Super Sly is still managing to hold his way onto the garage rafter side, but at this point, I don't think Monday Morning Chapel has really pushed that way quite yet. Klimps is downstairs in lounge, blasting away the floor, making it very, very dangerous for the bandit to try his trick, and he won't try it at all, as he will just tuck his tail and run back to the corner, cash them into a more safe location. But it's not going to be safe for too much longer, as Klimps is just blasting away the entire floor on some Home Depot level reconstruction of those floorboards.
Yeah, talk about do-it-your-own construction with a shotgun. That's one way to get rid of the drywall and any other wooden surfaces in the way. Going forward here, we've got ourselves B-Dog sitting in that red hallway. He's got the wall opened up to him, and he's got that stairwell. However, going on the other side, Kashka finds Super Sly, and Super Sly is put down. But we're also on the mend here, as Mendy decides to start walking towards that garage overpass piece on the catwalk, trying to push up, maybe help out his teammates. B-Dog being constantly picked up by the drone and decides to peek, and CB openly takes out B-Dog at the top there. As Men comes in and takes down Krunks with chunks. My goodness, what a absolute strong showing on the attack this time. That is a massive loss. That ended up not working out well in Goose Geese's favor, and Monday Morning Chapel takes that round.
It was really great work from Mend, pushing up Garage, taking out the dock, and ultimately laying the final blow into the Goose Geese defense. Really great work from everybody on that lineup, as the kills were pretty well spread out here, except Klimps dropped 10 assists, which is absolutely crazy in my eyes. Dude's looking like old school Rajon Rondo with the passes, dishing out the rest of his team, and that's why he's on top. That gets you a heck of a lot of points. But with that, we're going to be going to a quick 5-minute intermission to make sure everything is in order. So make sure to stay tuned as we start up on map 2, being Oregon.
Stay with your favorite bubbly drink and your best Cheez-Its. We will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back from our break. We're into the second map, Monday Morning Chapel versus the Goose and Geese's, bringing in those Canadian murder crows, getting ourselves all ready for the second map. At first map, the Monday Morning Chapel group, the Bible study of old, brought down the holy hammer of grenades and decided that they were going to win the map. CNAPS, what did you get from that map?
The only thing I'm seeing right now is that Duke unfortunately flipped the script and has the wrong sides. So we're gonna be going to a quick little intermission as the scuffed cast returns after about 5 more minutes.
Ladies and gentlemen, bring back your favorite bubbly drink. We will be right back. And welcome back again for an intermission exclusive. We've decided, since this has been so scuffed, we're going to cast a knife fight between the Goose Keys and the Monday Morning Chapel group. It's going to be interesting. Who brings the blunt object? Who brings the knife that isn't a knife? We're going to have to see how this goes forward as we have Mozzie on the board. The Australian's going to bring in the Bowie knife. And we got a few others as well, as it looks like Cash has decided either between Blitz and Nook, or is it Knock? Either way, whoever fights her is going to be knocking on heaven's door real quick. And this is going to be a very interesting one. I've never casted a knife fight before. Who will stab who? Whose jugular will spray arterial fluid everywhere? Stay tuned, as it looks like we're going to have ourselves a very good one going on as Spitz and B-Dog push down the back hallway. And they're getting themselves ready for a wee bit of a fight as that round clock is ever so slowly counting down to the arterial spread that will be coming from that front door area. As Krunks, B-Dog, and Chaz seem to be the first line of defense, and Superfly being the light infantry on the left-hand side for that sweet flank. And also Spitz coming up on that backside, bolstering the front line infantry, if you will. It's going to be interesting. Will the Roman legions reign supreme, or will the Germanic barbarians get down into the booth? Find out in about 2 seconds as both teams now pushing out into the main stands. We've got Glimpse, who's completely outnumbered, but look, it's Marius Calgar and the Space Marines. They've all come in to help. It's blue versus orange. They've got themselves battle lined ready. And now they've made a bit of an interesting circle jerk as it's now started, and Glimpse and Cats takes down 2. It's now down. Oh my goodness gracious! It's a massacre. This is great. This has been fantastic. Oh god. Okay, CNAPS, get the bucket and the mop. There's a lot to clean up.
Yeah, there's a lot to unpack at this point because we still have to kill about 5 minutes of time before Duke is able to remake a lobby. So I guess we can go once again for another knife fight. So, oh, never mind. People are leaving, so we might have to go to intermission. But that's right there. Knife fights are the ultimate display of skill. It's how organized as a team you are. It's how you can effectively set down refrags. Just kidding. It's pretty much essentially ping and luck based, and this is just me kind of trying to waffle just a bit. But at the end of the day, this is Summer League. It's a bit of a meme league, and we love to have fun here, even if Duke also doesn't know how to set up a lobby. So we're going to actually go ahead and go over to intermission once again. So make sure to stay tuned for the actual start of the map in about 5 minutes. Oh, fucking no. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as pardon our scuffness, but this is Summer League, so it's a little bit of water under the bridge, straight from the beaches of Oregon, even though there's no beaches, just trying to go right back into the action as the ban phase is going away.
Are we not live anymore?
So we are live. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, everybody. As a Ying ban is going to be the first one coming out, as Monday Morning Chapel does not want to deal with those candelas milking away your screen and making it impossible to fire back, as well as Goose Geese staying strong and firm with their Monty ban, carrying over from last map. If their precedent does reign true, we'll probably see the Milk Dud herself of Clash also biting the bullet. So, and about whenever they want to fully commit to that, we will see what Goose Geese are also banning on the defensive side.
Yeah, and I can already start hearing the slight and stuttering honks from the future. Looks like the Canadian murder crows, the Goose Geese, are going to be trying to do their absolute best, and they looks like they target banned CB, taking down the meatball man himself, the Spaghetti Maestro. Taking that mom spaghetti off their plate, nobody's going to get it on their sweater already. Now we're down to the last defensive ban, and it looks like Monday Morning Chapels decided to take down the complexity that is Jaeger. That's going to be an interesting pick with no more of the abilities to put down those ADS devices, taking down grenades and flashes and other all sorts of spectacular objects flying through the air. We'll have to see. This is going to be a little more of an open game as those instruments of doom can now come forth unhindered at almost any way, shape, and form.
Yeah, all of the anti-projectile work is going to have to come through Klimps on the Wamai, making him a very crucial backbone to essentially all of the defensive rounds. But if you do a quick little bit of math, it isn't going to be quite enough, as there's flashbangs on pretty much all of these operators, as well as the ability to disable those magnets from a distance. But the main thing I want to talk about now is that little bit of glory that I see in the top right of the screen, as
I'm
the
so happy.
castle has not been brought in favor of the more viable and competitive operator of Tachanka.
I cannot believe the Lord has graced himself in our presence. He has brought forth the fire and flame that is the Tuchanks. His rap career now starting off. We're going to see whether or not, and he's brought the greatest skin known to man. Talk about the unicorn operator of old. He who be fantasy himself, the Pony Rider Tuchanka. CB playing that back fridge area over towards that new areas that was added on the last couple of patches. Oh, this is going to be glorious. I cannot wait to see what type of fire and flame he decides to spit out in purpley goodness and rainbow color and glitter.
10 seconds remaining.
You know, Tachanka, when he gets his rework, is actually looking to be a very, very viable operator, but it will be a definite F in the chat for all of these old strats that we're seeing, such as CB just locking down completely on his turret. He has the lines of sights from Mend opening up and making that entire area and corridor into an absolute kill box, as well as properly implementing those new proximity alarms that have been added in the last patch. They're going to ring true and send all of that wonderful, glorious audio information broadcasted to the entire defending team, just like our voices are being broadcasted to all of you wonderful viewers sitting at home. But as the round starts, it seems as if there's going to be a good amount of main stairs pressure, as Shaz has already made his way into the lobby. He's going to start creeping down the main stairs, probably droning his way, actually just face checking it and rotating all the way into meeting. They're going to want to get those back hatches open in order to properly take out the players inside of pillars, and also the couple of players that have made their home inside the blue bunker on the backside of the map. But the attack also seems to be focused a little bit on Freezer, and if we do a little bit of foreshadowing, it could spell doom for Shaz, who's going to be blindsided by this mounted LMG that is ready to go.
Aw, cue happy gas mask noises as it looks like he's about to peek our man Tuchanks, and oh, the fire album is dropped and it goes platinum right away as CB drains the back end of his head, evacuating all memories and thought processes as it goes. Klim's also picking up a kill on Spitz. That's down 2 on the attacking side. Both the Thatcher and Sophia gone. Krunks, B-Dog, and Superfly are the last ones left. Is oof. CB and Klimps doing some serious damage right off the very beginning. And here we go as the Yana decides that he may or may not want to try and go down that main stairwell. And here we go. The drone has been put out as he decides to walk it safely down there. It makes, I guess, a little bit of sense to try and make it so that way they believe it's the real Yana. Start shooting and give away their position as it is shown right there. Oh my, got one look, and there goes a little bit of some explosive stuff as Men decides to take down Krunks on the back end there. That's a good defensive play. Getting another kill off of them and helping out the attack in total is B-Dog and Super Slayer. The last one's left. Looks like they're going to have one heck of a hold here. But it does look like that Men has... Oh, yes, he does. It looks like B-Dog and Superfly are the last two alive, and they do not have their diffuser, but it doesn't matter as B-Dog finds Klims and empties down the already wounded individual that's been trying to push down on top of them, as they're both now pushing down that backhand staircase. They're trying to go for the diffuser, and time is running out. They've got 10 seconds left, and Mend laying down in and gets the second one. Easy frags for Mend as he's laying down for the first one, taking down the initial push-in by the Yana character, and it gets back up and gets completely aggressive and taking down the secondary. Well done on that one. That was a very well played and very well thought out defense. Just kidding. It was all on because of Tuchanka. We both know the truth.
I mean, honestly, from an analysis perspective, the Tachanka pick actually did pan out and was actually quite effective in locking down the back freezer staircase. That's where not only the hard breach, but the Zofia really wanted to go down. But when you lose your entry on form of B-Dogs with that Zofia early without a refrag position, you're automatically at an immediate disadvantage, especially when you need Sophia with all of her utility. Those 4 projectiles really do have quite an impact in burning away the Wamai magnets for Calcel, who was playing on pillars. So ultimately, not really having an effective way to get rid of that operator because of all of the magnets that had accumulated in his back pocket and got tossed out like frisbees did spell disaster for the rest of the push trying to push the backside. But with that, we're going to see the return of CB on the Tachanka once again, but Kashta has picked up the Clash. We could see a little bit of a nice interaction here, because if you ever played casual, it's absolutely terrifying to look at a Clash. All of a sudden, the Clash hits an A or a D key to strafe a little bit to the side, and boom, there's a turret staring at you.
Yeah, it's nothing like having a little bit of a distraction, and then bam, there's a Tuchanka waiting behind him with a machine gun. Now, Tuchanka, that pick is on the secondary. He's trying to show he's not just a one-hit wonder, and now he's named his second rap album The Second Coming as the Lord and Savior of the Soviet Republic. Tuchanka is definitely going to be trying to prove again that he is a viable option before patch, and we're about to watch and witness the greatness that is the pink and fluffy Tuchanka Rainbow Strat. Just kidding, that's not what this is called. He's just literally doing this for the fact that he can. And it's going to be interesting because he probably will continue to do so as long as it seems to work. As we see the Goose Geese getting themselves in flying V formation, surrounding the building and honking at it as the best way they can to shake it down. Kind of like the Big Bad Wolf from the Little Red Riding Hood series, but a little different.
Yeah, having just that little bit of difference is going to be good, as Monday Morning Chapel is just correctly reading into how Goose Geese want to attack. There's mirror barricades for the master side, as well as a Tachanka with a good amount of utility dumped onto his way, protecting the attic. And that's where Spitz and Crunks, as well as Shaz and Super Sly, have all sort of bounced away towards. They're really wanting to get control of Big Tower, push into both meeting and attic, as Spitz and Crunks' combination will be blasting open the wall, and they're going to be peeking it and now are terrified as the bullets come down range from that mounted LMG. But the glass is just going to be tapped away at the hands of a beautiful angle coming out of Shaz, but the Tachanka has no fear.
Have no fear when the Red Menace is here to defend us. It looks like CB's going to fall off of that machine gun. He has peeled some time off the clock. They're down to about 1 minute and 23 seconds at this point in time. And it looks like Kashta also taking some serious damage. B-Dog finding Calcel as well. That's really doing some crazy damage. But CB with the Tuchanka comes in as the Red Menace starts queuing up the old-fashioned Soviet national anthem, and Superfly also finding Kashta. The defenders are starting to reel a little bit here as a few of them are falling down. It is a 3v4. Shaz, Crunk, Spitz, and Superfly pushing in as Spitz finds the Klimps and gets the glimpse, and putting down Klimps for good on this round. And now it's down to just Mend and CB. CB, the Red Menace, trying to hold off any push from that attic area, and it looks like they might have juked him, as they have all rotated back around the other way. Mend being the only actual player on the other site to hold them off. To see how this turns out, it looks like they are trying to heavy drone their way in, as White might just be about to peek out, and CB gets another one as Crunks goes down hard and fast, and Mendy also finding Spit. CB reeling back a little bit after they Western Democracy sent out McDonald's applications to try and get it in, but Mendy finds another one as Shaz goes down. Mendy and CB holding this on an attack, and Mendy comes in to help out the Red Menace. The Tuchanka holding the entire team back, and Mendy poking the sides of anyone that comes off to try and push and end up getting the extra kill. That is a solid defense by Monday Morning Chapel.
Absolute big props up to Mend, as he proved he could do it all. He got frags with the guns, took out the diffuser with a well-placed nitro cell, and just continued swinging and keeping up the pressure. That was a 2v4 clutch scenario, coming predominantly off of Mend's back on the Mira. However, we'll say that Tachanka definitely did some work as well, as once again, it does seem to be just a little bit of heroics on the sides of Monday Morning Chapel to keep them in. The Lord has forgiven them and really anointed them to continue their fragging powers. And it will be going all the way downstairs to kitchen and dining hall as Tachanka has graced the lineup once again in conjunction with that Mira. There's going to be a bandit blade by Klimps, most likely trying to stop the breaching of these small tower walls that are directly adjacent to the site. So definitely keeping those closed as long as possible is very advantageous for the defense. Trying to funnel them into doorways as opposed to open breaches makes their lives just a little bit easier, especially if you have a well-placed Tachanka turret protecting that area.
Yeah, I swear, some people fear death, other people fear guns. Honestly, at this point, it looks like Goose Geese fear the enraged unicorn known as Tachanka. And it's going to be interesting to see how he gets utilized on this one. That's going to be the third round in a row that CB is going to be picking Tachanka. And the first two to absolute effect, although the first one seemed to have caught the attackers off guard. The second time, they played it a little bit smarter, taking away that extra armor on the top side of the machine gun to keep him from being able to hold on to it without being headshot. But CB was still able to hold back an entire rotated attack coming up to that main stairwell and master bedroom area. It was very well thought out and very well planned, and it just, that on top of that, kudos to Mend being the absolute support Chad in the background, shooting everything in the sides, doing very, very well. And this is just going to be interesting to see how this goes as we are now into the third round. Monday Morning Chapel up by 2.
And this is another spicy strat coming out of and being a brainchild of Monday Morning Chapel, as typically when you place a Mira window, you're using it for information, and you want to keep it active, blast protecting because of its bullet blocking abilities. But when you still have a face shield on the Tachanka turret, it opens up a really nice line of sight through the hard wall, such as we're seeing here. With this lineup, CB's able to hold down almost all of small tower, and it could actually be quite the strat to pan out, especially because you typically don't expect as an attacker to come up against a turret flying through a reinforced wall. But Super Slide is going to be going in with a nice coconut bra-esque angle as he opens up a little bit of the top of the wall from above, really making use of that floor angle now. But the mirror window is still intact.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting now that CB had to fall back a little bit farther to his turret. He's definitely lost some of his precision and the ability to see some of the angles. They might actually be able to jump over the side of that stairwell and get past the Tachanka turret. And it looks like they kind of know where he is. Although that impact grenade did miss, they have kind of honed in on him, and he's starting to give some visual cues, maybe some audio cues away to show exactly where he is. And it looks like on top of that, Council's starting to get pushed into that locker room there as he's starting to throw out as many of the Wamai magnets as he can to try and stop any of that from coming in. As Shaz picks up a kill on CB, there goes the Tachanka. It wasn't really too strong this time around as Council also finds Superfly. Klimps taking down Shaz. It's a frag back and forth, but it's just down to Spitz now, who's against 3 of the defenders, Klimps, Mend, and Council. He's going to have to try and do something here as he starts to push in, not really taking any damage, but definitely showing a little bit of a shaky aim there as he missed a few really good shots he could have gotten out on that Wamai. And it looks like Council will live another day as Mendy also trying to help out. But oh, geez, Klimps grabs his buddy's turret and decides to absolutely ice Spitz out. As you see here, the Tachanka rises from the flames as a phoenix, or rather that of a bandit, and ends up ending the attack there as Spitz gets brain pan and evacuated in quite a easy run there as the defenders pick up yet another round.
It's like the principle of a Hydra. Whenever you cut down one head, another one sprouts straight back, and that was the bandit continuing the legacy of a CB and definitely doing his father Tachanka quite proud, picking up the frag that he was unable to do. And with that, that is a perfect site rotation coming out of Monday Morning Chapel as they're starting to get the wheels turning. I believe this is 6 full rounds in a row, actually maybe 7 coming out if you count the carryover from Clubhouse. So the ball is definitely in their court in order to keep it continuing to roll and possibly steamroll all the way to an easy or sort of dominant win. at this point for Goose Geese, it's not looking too great, but anything can happen. This map definitely does favor and lean a little bit more towards the defender sided facet. So going off to a quick deficit is not unheard of, not surprising, but you need the mental fortitude and that determination in order to claw your way back, not get tilted, not get triggered, and just continue playing your game to the best of your ability.
Yep, and just like DJ Khaled looking into the camera and saying another one, CB has picked Tuchanka again. Looks like he's going to be doing the exact same strat as that first round, which Tuchanka was a cornerstone on the hold, getting a massive frag at the very beginning, using that machine gun turret as they walk down into the freezer fridge area. Now we're going to see again whether or not they decide to figure out how to counter them, as it looks like they started to get wise to the Tuchanka strat, at least on some of the attacks so far. However, the amount of time that he's able to shave off their attack, as well as the damage output that he's been putting on attackers, even when they still are alive, is insurmountable to the amount of damage they're able to throw back at him. So far, we're going to have to see whether or not their attack changes, as it looks like they decided to drone out this time and have actually spotted the Tuchanka turret. And have to see whether or not their whole strategy changes, as we do see the Geese are starting to flock and gaggle at the top of that main stairwell.
Yeah, at this point, when you look at Freezer, we saw the drone work, and it's just an absolute no man's land. There's not really any effective way to push it unless you try to dump a lot of utility, maybe try to blind the Tuchanka from a distance. But at that point, he can just hold mouse 1 and maybe get lucky with a headshot. You're probably just going to have to push somewhere else, such as Shaz has rotated all the way around. He's making sure that there's no angle coverage here and could just go straight on in, but the proximity alarm is going to rein in, making sure his position is broadcast to everyone. So stealth is out the window as Supersly is droning once again, making sure that there's not anybody coming up this area. CB is going to just take some top shots over to the bottom of Freezer. And it seems as if somebody is about to challenge the Lord on his godly angle.
Yeah, it looks like CB, still without a shield at half health, finds the Ash and takes her down hard and fast. And there we go, as Shaz uses that ultimate time as a friend goes down to really come in and get the refrag, taking down the Lord, but not before he gets his blood. The pound of flesh has been taken, and it was owed, as Shaz also finds Clamps. That's 2 down on the defending side for the 1 attacker that has been iced so far. It's up to Cash, though. Never mind, as Cash defines and decides to pick up a grenade thrown to him by Supersly. Supersly takes him down, as B-Dog also finds mandates all up the council as, wow, Shaz turns the corner and rears his ugly head as he opens up full automatic. As Wamai's little body falls limp to the floor after that one.
Really great work for Goose Geese to claw their way back in here, even though the webbed feats don't have as good of traction as you would expect. But Shaz picking up his 5th kill of the round, really finally coming to life as Goose Geese are getting their feet underneath them. They're going to start really trying to chip away at the lead that Monday Morning Chapel has been able to build for themselves. But they're going to bring the Tuchanka again, as some things, very few things in life are constant. You got death, you got taxes, you got Duke messing up lobbies, and you have CB on the Tuchanka getting kills with the turret.
Yeah, and you know what? It's a cornerstone of history at this point, as he continues to bring the red threat back up, and this is no longer a Cold War. It has gone hot, as we're watching the Goose Geese waddle their way towards the pond, also known as Oregon. And it seems like right now they're just going to try and take this a little bit more slower. They have switched up their play style. They got what they thought was going to be a hard attack and turned it around and took the win, as it's now 3-1 against the Goose Geese. They're down by 2, but they seem to have turned that cornerstone around for the Tuchanka. But now it's all up to CB to change his strats. Will he adapt and overcome? Find out as this round comes down to the final seconds.
Yeah, the main thing is Goose Geese was able to properly read into the weaknesses of this potential hold, as the Tachanka can't really protect himself from the main stairs push. So with that, Glimpse on the Mira is going to be sitting inside a supply closet, looking very, very reminiscent of old Oregon to where you go, as well as CB placing some proximity alarms towards the bottom of the freezer, giving him a little bit of a heads up when people want to push in. Actually, it's not even going to be the Mira holding this backside. Nope, he's going to still go traditional. He's going to stick with what has kind of worked because it's gotten him kills, as well as just supplementing his hold with a little bit of extra brain power.
Yeah, and the brain power and IQ plays are what's going to be needed here, as if they're allowed to push down that main stairwell again and start honking at things, it's going to cause some problems for Tachanka, as he's a very stationary target at this point in time. Although he was still able to pick up a frag, even after being damn near cut off at the legs like Lieutenant Dan, he was still able to get the frag out on Crunks, who's pushed down as the Ash, who we all know has an interesting hitbox to begin with, and he was still able to find it. So there's still a massive threat if they don't play this properly, as we already see Crunks with open hatch over top trying to do some damage. Shaz trying to come down and possibly recalibrate his strategy, but it doesn't look like that's going to be pushed through, because the Mira's sidewall there with the Mira City is able to hold him off and make him think twice about pushing out. We also have Cancel on the backside stairwell, now going to be pushed possibly by two of our attacking Geese. You hear them honking in V formation, getting ready to push down through there, and it looks like Castle's going to have to fall back as he was concussed, and Spitz also downstairs now. They've pushed downstairs and taken the doorway against him, so now he's pushed back. He's decided to possibly throw back himself. He gets into C4, doesn't confirm the kill there, but does some serious damage. But Spitz says, I don't care, takes down Men. Klim's also finding Crunks, though. And now Shaz and Spitz now pushing in, but there could be a possible flank on that backside, and Wamai could be the one that gets killed, as Klim now gets shattered by Shaz, as Shaz is now pushing into sight. And Spitz finds CB on the flank. There we go. Lure Tachanka's down, but Cancel finding the kill on the backside, getting another one as Shaz also goes down. It is now down to a 2v1, which looked like it was going to be a commanding attack by the Geese, has turned to be a little bit more of a problematic scenario. 2v1. Castle and Kashta doing a very good job at retaking while the enemy team was pushing in for the hold. And it looks like Superfly's got himself in a bit of a pickle. He's in a bit of a bottleneck while the defenders have retaken sight and now posted themselves up in some rather strong positions. He's going to be the one to have to push in, and he's only got half health, which means he's going to have to do some serious damage and do it fast. As those smoke grenades are starting to dissipate, he's trying to bait them into pushing him, but they're playing the smart and very disciplined way, as it doesn't look either the defenders are willing to push out. They're going to take the win. And there we go, as Monday Morning Chapel sits in a Bible prayer and decides to make a prayer circle instead of attacking.
A really great patience and everything coming out of the defenders to not overextend, to take back the site with authority, as well as to not relinquish it once again. Those two players of the Wamai and the Smoke just played very well together, building off each other, setting up their crossfires, and making sure that no more gaps were left in. At the end of the day, the diffuser was dropped at the top of Big Tower, and there wasn't a whole lot that the Sledge could do, bar some absolute godly heroics from the Goose Geese. It wasn't looking like the hearts were in the cards that time. But with that, the final round of the defensive half for Monday Morning Chapel will be going upstairs from kids' dorms. But Kashta has a little bit of an interesting sixth pick, as the sneaky Caviera is being brought into the lineup and seeing the light of day for the first time.
Yeah, it's going to be an interesting one to see, as the Geese are on the back foot. I don't mean, how could they be on the back foot? It's an inverted. You know what? I'm just going to stop thinking about the actual characteristics of the Geese and start thinking about how they're going to pull this back, as there's 30 seconds left on this defending Chide setup. This Monday Morning Chapel's getting ready for bed and breakfast. Started handing out the Bibles and putting up those armored walls to keep out those stinky, stinky Geese. as the Geese are now getting ready to start honking on that doorway and tell them, hey, you've got cookies, we want them.
And with that, we're actually going to see the Lord not being brought in favor of the mind games coming out of CB on the alibi. There's a whole lot of shields, there's a whole lot of prisoners, and there's going to be a whole lot of confusion as you try to push your way into attic. Which one is the real alibi? You don't know, and you might actually find out in the kill cam if you're not careful. What did he get damaged from?
I think he got hit by the magnet, to be honest with you.
That would make sense. I think he did get hit by the magnet, as Calcel, looking like an ultimate Frisbee player, tossed that out with surgical precision right into the backside of his teammate. It's not going to cause a whole lot of damage, but going to be a little bit more fun than anything, as Krunks is making use of all 50 bullets of that Vector 308 to try a little bit of a pre-fire. However, he's not going to find anybody quite yet. Super Sly has brought and completed the toxic combination of the yellow operators with the icons of Lion and Blackbeard. Definitely something that's not fun to play against if in the right hands. Actually headshotting somebody only for it to be ricocheted back away by a little bit of saran wrap covering a head is not the most fun thing to do. But what's pretty fun is Klimps rotating up into the top of Small Tower. Going to be trying to flank any of these attackers, as it seems he might be misdroned. Nope, he's going to give away his position by trying to take that recon device out. And yes, he finally will be able to land his shots. He's playing a little bit of a cat and mouse game as Krunks rotated into kitchen, but at this point, Klimps is long gone, and so is Spitz as CB picks up a kill, but the quick refrag comes out as Shaz puts in a surgical precision shot right through the head of the alibi.
Yeah, and talk about returning it to senders. Spitz gets dropped really, really quickly, but his teammate whacks in there, and Shaz getting the refrag on CB, the former Lord and Savior of the Soviet Republic, known as Tuchanka, has now gone out for the alibi, like you said, to try and play in some sneaky beaky games. However, it only worked for one frag, and he was refragged quickly. And just like one of our favorite pro players always says, you gotta want to be within at least 2 seconds or so from your teammates for those refrags. Otherwise, playing as a team player is just kind of useless. Going back towards it, we got ourselves B-Dog playing that Nomad on that top floor, trying to make some damage go on, but Krunks finds B-Dog and puts down his teammate? Question mark? Mendy finding Krunks and Klimps grabbing Superfly. It's down to a 1v4 really quickly, and I think Krunks was trying to just, sacrifice a teammate to the god of blood to get himself some more damage, and it ended up going to one of his teammates as Shaz takes down Klimps, and it's now down to a 3v2. 3v1. Now it's down to a 2v1, but Calcif's in the backside, finds Shaz's face, and says, hey, listen, I'm going to slap you real quick, and you're just going to fall over, okay? All right, thank you.
It was a good effort from Shaz, as he was on for the ace clutch if he was able to ice it out, but unfortunately, that's not a real easy position to be in, as it seems it is just Mend versus Shaz on the fragging, but the supporting cast of Monday Morning Chapel is proving to be just a little bit better, and the scoreline definitely reflects that. Up 5-1, we're going to see some more interesting strats coming out, as CB just wants to play all these unorthodox operators, flashing between the Blitz, the Finka, anything that you can possibly really throw into your mind, as Glimpse is also onto the glass, going to act as a Russian sniper. A big shout out to Communist Waffle, a legend here at CEA, for his glass work. Definitely not fun to play against if you have that marksman-like precision. Calsto's also going to play a little bit of those mind games coming out as Yana, as her, I actually don't know the exact name of the gadget, but it's just a hologram that can move around like a drone, give you information, make some sound, maybe waste a little bit of utility, and it's also interesting that you can just kind of suicide the drone and set up a nice refrag on utility, which is always a nice interaction coming out. But the ball is in Goose Geese's court, as a 5-1 defensive split is not unheard of on Oregon, but it's definitely not what you want. If Goose Geese wants to stay alive in this game and in this series, they're going to have to one-up exactly what Goose Geese was able to do, or what Monday Chapel was able to accomplish on their defensive sides. They're going to have to get at least 5 rounds to even force the potential of overtime.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be an interesting one. We got ourselves a literal different composition going for here. B-Dog really the only one taking a operator that was really used on the opposite side here as Lamai. You got Krunks playing as the spoopy Kavera, going around trying to find anybody sitting out in the open. Whether or not there's going to be any refrags or not is going to be the question of the hour. Shaz also using those frost traps to try and catch the feeties of everyone that's not looking for them. You got Spitz also playing mute. He's kind of mute on the subject, whether or not he picked that operator for a specific reason. And then Superfly coming in with the Cade, the barricade, the man, the myth, the legend himself, the tallest operator in Siege as B-Dog finds Klimps. And this defense is going off to a rather decent start so far. Castle tries baiting out for his teammate, but Kashta finds Krunks as he comes in to try and drop chunks, and it misses the mark. There it goes as the sledge decides to push up, and it does some serious damage. Klimps losing that ability to look through smoke at the very beginning. He's no longer on the map. And Mend also finding himself into a precarious situation, being down by some extra explosives. Council's there, his teammate able to pick him up, and now he's got his secondary grenade with him, trying to open up some holes in the bottom there, but they get Shaz flanks, doing damage to Men, but he didn't realize Calso was also there as Calso turns back around and ends Shaz's little flank on his B-Dog, turns back and also empties out the brain pan as CB. It's down to a 3v2. Things are starting to heat up as Calso starting to push up that main stairwell with a little bit of help from his teammate out that main window. Kashta looking through that main window, trying to see whether or not he can get an angle. Both of them trying to wait to see whether or not a defender is going to try and rotate out or not. Spitz and Superfly all kind of trying to just hold corners, hold those rotates back as B-Dog gets found by Council. Council also taking down Superfly, and look at that as it turns around to a 2v1 so fast, and Kashta coming in on the support, taking Spitz down. That's that's gotta hurt, as they were all holding their angles as they were supposed to, and it just ended up falling apart as Kashta getting that rear frag in, cleaning up the rest of the match, and that's gotta hurt, as now they're down by 5.
Yeah, it's not looking good, as you needed 5 rounds on defense, and now you have to be absolutely perfect if you want to keep your playoff dreams alive. We have reached the round of 16 in this Summer League bracket, so it is a win or go home in that style. No losers brackets, no double elimination, none of those shenanigans. It's just win or perish. And at this point, Monday Morning Chapel is looking like they're going to cruise on in, bar a absolutely heroic comeback coming out of Goose Geese. Don't quite count them out this time, but they definitely have quite a mountain ahead of them if they want to climb and claw their way back into the ranks of this game.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting whether or not the Goose Geese are able to claw their way out of this hole, because at this point in time, it looks like Monday Morning Chapel broke both of their wings on this one. It's just the back that needs to be broken now, as the final straw is yet to be laid. We are seeing as Monday Morning Chapel start setting themselves up to get themselves into the Oregon building to take out the final defense done by Goose Geese. It's going to be interesting whether or not Krunks is able to turn the Kavera play around, as last time he tried to come out with a bit of a sneaky peek and took out the Yana hologram, and was flanked by Kashta playing as the sledge on that right stairwell. It's looking a little bit like a bit of a mountain for them to climb, but as the round now starts out here, we have ourselves CB coming in with everyone's favorite siege operator with a pistol and shield, coming up as a wee bit of a meme the 3rd or 4th time around, and now this is him just coming back into it as Chunks trying to get a few extra shots off and just kind of pegs him a little bit. CB's got a little bit of a flesh wound, his butt nothing. And there we go. He decides to push his face out into the opening. Klim says, no problem. I has that. And now he has Cheeseburger, as it looks like Krunks' face has been plastered all over the wall.
And that was a really nice shot coming from the marksman rifle of Klimps, giving a little glimpse at accuracy and precision with that weapon, as well as the frag grenades coming out. But Mend is going to get another kill onto Shaz, removing the roam presence of that frost. As well as Cash is already pushed up close to sight as more frags are going to fly out. Both Spitz and B-Dog are going to fight in the dust, leaving it all up to Superfly in a 1v5 potential situation. He's going to fight with the shield, but CB's going to end it up with a flawless round for Monday Morning Chapel as they really answered the call and answered the prayers that they put out. They take the series 2-0, final game 7-1, and they will be advancing to the round of 8.
Yeah, talk about showing a superior belief and faith in their ability to get this stuff done. Council and Mend also with 7-9, as well as CB also bring up the frags. It looked like their entire team was really ready and waiting to play this one. Goose Geese really kind of letting themselves down as only one of their teammates was really able to uh, put any real frags on the board, as the rest of them were fighting to just cling on to anything that they could possibly get. We had one life full of life around by them, really showing a dominant Spectre, but it seemed to be a one and out scenario. As for the rest of them, they were just kind of swept up in a dustpan and put away.
And now it's just in that we're going to have an interview as we get to pick the brains of one of the players on Monday Morning Chapel. And it will be the Tachanka man himself of CB, the meme lord who was fragging out of his mind. We're going to get to see a little bit of behind the scenes action as we get to ask the questions that you guys are all dying to hear. Make sure to talk in chat and we can really buff up those questions as well. And so we actually will be going to a quick intermission to make sure that all of this gets set up and we have everything proper there. So make sure to stay tuned. Never mind, Duke is telling me I'm wrong. Hello, welcome. How are you doing today?
I'm doing swell, very swell.
Yeah, getting a win in that fashion definitely feels good as there's a little bit of weight off your shoulders. Those little pre-playoff jitters are definitely gone. And to win in such a dominating fashion was definitely a spectacle for all of us to see. A pleasure to cast, and I'm sure a pleasure to watch.
Thank you for the kind words.
Yeah, so we have a couple questions for you.
Sounds
The
good.
first one, let's pick your mind on the Tuchanka pick. I'm quite certain you just picked him because he clearly is the superior operator in Rainbow Six Siege. But
Obviously.
what was your background strategy for that? Was that pre-planned or was that just a fast pace, fly ball?
Actually, we had a scrim where another team used Tachanka for a hold inside of blue, stopping us from the backwards push of laundry. So we decided like we could probably implement that into our attacks and saw there were many holds that the Tachanka was able to hold, such as you saw in Laundry. We pretty much made a Normandy beach in Oregon, and as well as an attic. It would have been better to have the Jaeger to stop all those nades and throwables, but I mean, at the end, we were able to adjust to our ops available to us.
Yeah, it definitely was quite impressive as all those long angles were essentially impossible to effectively challenge unless you just either threw a lot of utility or a lot of bodies in the way of that mounted LMG. But going back to Clubhouse just a little bit, were you guys worried at the halftime split on your start of defense?
We honestly were, because we weren't really at our sort of fluid, our groove of the game. Some of us has just came back from little events that prevented us from warming up. But after readjusting ourselves, asking ourselves what we're doing wrong, we decided to take a step back and realign ourselves to push forward and play how we would, and if it was a scrim the day before.
No, that was some really well thought out and well played rounds on both maps. I'm guessing, especially with taking that first map by uh, the skin of your teeth, in almost in some cases, it looked like it was going back and forth for a little while. But then those last final 3 rounds or so, you guys really started showing some momentum. Do you think that carried into the second map that just allowed you to almost steamroll the Geese into roast goose after that one?
Honestly, after realizing that these are players we're playing against, we're not, up against a stone wall. We decided if we played smarter, played as if you were, any other ranked game, we were able to overcome our obstacles ahead of us. We just pumped each other up, giving each other little positive comments and feedback. That really helped us keep our minds clean from any hate towards the game that any bugs or sounds that may bring.
All right, and we have some questions from the Peanut Gallery in chat. As Suspect asks, Cheeks, who boosted you to Diamond this season?
If y'all like to get boosted by me like a monkey, pay me Skittles, and I'll give you an inside man because half of GC is boosted. Let's be honest. I'm the actual real diamond here. Look up my stats, 3 in a row. Cash boosted though, honestly.
Damn, that's some really
It,
good stuff here.
it's
Seems
very
like
it's very tough.
yeah. Or anyways, though, what do you guys? How are you feeling with this first match out of the way? You guys have taken it in a commanding fashion. Do you feel like any further matches going forward, you're going to really draw off what you learned here from this match today?
This match really brought our attention to the fact that most of our plays rely on a Monty, as we would normally play Monty on Coastline or Coastline, sometimes Villa, but especially Clubhouse. Um, Without it, we had to readjust our attacks completely. So within the this today and our next match, we're gonna have to implement more attacks without having the use of a shield.
Yep. So I went ahead and looked at the bracket for you guys, and it seems as if you will be facing off against UNCC Charlotte, or which is UNC Charlotte, UNCC, the number 1 seed in the entire bracket. Is there going to be anything interesting necessarily? Are you worried? Are you going to have to do a little bit of VOD work? Any extra efforts towards the rest of this tournament?
I'm probably gonna have to bribe them with more Skittles and continue watching TikToks to relieve my stress of this game coming up. But I mean, moving forward, I think if we put more time into them, we're probably gonna do VOD reviews. We've never actually done them before, but especially going against an opponent like that, I mean, we're gonna have to pray a bit more than we would normally do against any other team.
Yep, definitely showing off the strong teams that we have inside not only the CEA Summer League tournament, but overall in the entire league. But with that, I guess we can wrap up this interview. Make sure to stay tuned for the rest of the broadcasts we have this week. I think tomorrow, I can pull it up real quick. We have yep, CU Buffaloes, so that's Colorado versus UGA, casted by Epic and Enrage. Really great combination from those guys and observed by Ketzel. That'll start tomorrow. Thursday, 7/16 at 9 p.m. Eastern. But also wanted to give a huge shout out to our sponsors here. What's New.gg has helped us launch a really great merch line. So if you want to rep CEA, you can pick up some nice joggers, a dad hat, there's some mouse pads, even a wall scroll to really take your fanhood up to the next level. As well, if you're feeling a little bit tired, need a little bit of extra pep in your step, a little caffeine kick, you can go over to rogueenergy.com. Make sure to pick up some of their wonderful energy supplement. If you use code CEA at checkout, you can make sure to save 10% off. As well, also always backing us up is Corsair, our big dogs in our corner, as they are a really high quality company. If you need any gaming peripherals, any mice, keyboards, headsets, you can go over to their website and make sure that you're only getting the best product for your gaming performance. So, with that, I've been CDAPS,
And I'm the one true Spades.
and we'd like to wish you guys a really great night.